Hey guys, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing well. It's Friday. Y'all already know I go. Flavor Friday. Hey, you know you got my heart, God. Oh yeah. My hands are raised to show I surrender to you. This is Bizzle, guys. And it's called You Got My Heart. So, I am so glad that you are here for Flavor Friday. Again, my name is Coach Aisha Neal. I am the president of ConsecrateCoaching.com, Life Coaching, and God is my CEO. So I am glad that you guys are on. I'm glad that you're here with me, rocking with me, hanging with me, chilling with me. You know, Fridays are a little bit more laid back than Tempo Tuesday. Tempo Tuesday is my encouragement and prayer. Flavor Fridays, we get into the word a little bit, we expound a little bit, we chill a little bit, we talk a little bit, you know, a little bit of all that, a little bit, you know. So hit me up in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any comments, any concerns. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. It's so dope because, you know, we iron sharpens iron. We can learn from each other, you know. I don't profess to know it all. I ain't that type. So I'm learning every single day, and I love that God is using me in the things that I have learned to share. You know, you did. So I'm glad you guys are on. Friday is always awesome. So, you know, should put your hair down a little bit, even though I can't really be saying that. Clearly, this thing is all the way up. But, you know what I'm saying, for those that can put it down, don't put this down. We're going to take this off. But if you can, put your hair down. Do that. So, let's hop on in because today is going to be good. It ain't what you think it is either. That I can't say. Because that's what I heard the Holy Spirit say. It's not what you think. But you see the title. It says, Follow Me. Follow Me. I know you don't think I'm talking about me, right? When I say follow me, I hope you don't. I know that you don't think me, right? So, but it says follow me. And so, let's go ahead and get into it just a little bit. And I do recommend this song. Like, if you do get down with Christian hip hop, I know that's not everybody's fave, but if you do get down with Christian hip hop, I do encourage you to listen to Bizzle. You know, Bizzle is really, really dope. I really love this song, and he definitely has another one that while I'm here, got him up. And it's from his Light Work 2 Bars and Melodies album that came out last year. There is a song up here. What is it called? On the Low. It's called On the Low. I do encourage you to listen to both of those both of those songs. This one and On the Low. Because it's really, really dope. So, I love that part. If he got your heart, you know, if God got your heart, it goes right into this of following him. It says follow me, but it's really follow him. You know what I mean? So, I'm rambling, child. I done wasted about 4 minutes. It ain't no waste, so I'm just, let's, chill a little bit together, and now we're going to dive into it. Cool beans? Are you with me? Because you already know, I start up everything that I do, and it's based in the word. But this one is not foundationally based on one word. The word is scattered throughout this message. So I will leave it in the comments, all the scriptures that the Holy Spirit led me to for this work. This is not foundationally based on one scripture. It is many scriptures. So, again, title, Follow Me. So, and when he told me follow me, I'm like, okay, I think that there's, we think about following, we think about social media since we're here. This is how we met, this is how we get down. We're on social media, right? And so when we think about following, thinking about, clicking the follow button. We like something and we follow it and all that stuff. And I've been hearing things lately of not taking God as a trend. And so when that ministered to me about right now, it feels like people are trying to make God a trend, and that's not funny. That's not cool. Trying to make God a trend, follow him as if you can you're gonna unfollow him when he posts something that you don't like, or he says something that you get offended by. Then because when you following somebody on social media, cancel culture is attached to that. So you want to cancel Jesus when you feel like you want to cancel him because it's not conducive to what you want to do. Because people follow people conditionally. Throw that out there. So, but if God got your heart, are you really following him with conditions? So he was telling me that there are 2 conditions to this walk with Jesus. Since we talking about conditional fellowship, there are 2 things, and we hear of one ever so often, and it is from Romans 10:9 and 10. That if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you confess and are saved. So that is one condition of following Jesus. Confession. It's a belief, which is a mindset. We'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit. And it's the belief of speaking it that you will be saved. So that's one condition is that. And that's heard so many times, and it's so, well, I said with my mouth I believe in Jesus, so I'm saved. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's not incorrect, but we're missing the next part. And I'll get to that right now. Okay? But it says right here, because I read from my notes. If this is your first time on a broadcast, yes, you'll see me looking down quite often, because when the Holy Spirit speaks, I write. And so I'm looking down because I'm looking at my notes, okay? But it also says in my notes here that it is our consistent belief that Jesus saves us. It's our consistent belief. It's not our up and down belief. It's not, well, I'm going to believe one day and then I'm going to cancel him the next day because he didn't answer this prayer. Or it's the consistent belief in Jesus that saves us. However, the other part is also needs to be consistent with that same energy, but it's also consistently overlooked. And that comes from Luke 9 and 23. I'm reading from the New King James Version in this. That says, then he, meaning Jesus, said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Hence where the title came from. Follow me. I'll read that again. And Jesus said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself. Himself meaning herself, himself. He means us. And to take up his or their cross daily and follow me. That means follow me is not just when I feel like it. Follow me doesn't mean when it's good for me or beneficial to me. Daily, every day, daily. Okay? So those are the 2 conditions. The 2 conditions are to believe in your heart. To believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, not just to believe and confess that Jesus is Lord, but to also believe that he was resurrected, you will be saved. For it's with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it's with your mouth that you confess and you are saved. However, also, there are so many of us that confess to believe in him, which directly correlates to coming after him. Because if you believe something, you follow it. Y'all follow me? And so, however, is so many that don't want to follow him. You can say that you believe and still do not follow what you say you believe in. Y'all feel me on that? If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I wanna get down with you. I wanna, have conversation about it. This should be a good one for a topic of conversation, okay? Cool beans. And so he led me to go ahead and hit up the dictionary, because in this season he has definitely been leading me to the dictionary, to the Webster's dictionary at that, to look up certain words, to go deeper into Revelation. And he has brought me to the word believe. What does believe really mean? What does it really mean to believe? And it says here is a verb, meaning it's put into action. A belief is a verb. And so it means to accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of it, accept the statement of a thing as truth. So belief is not just a mindset. It is a mindset first. It has to start in your mind to accept something, but it's also an actionary term. It's a mindset put in motion. We're going to get more into that more in a second. Now, to follow, because this is piggybacking off of it, it just goes right one into the other, is to go and come after a person or a thing that has come before you, that has moved, and for you to move and travel behind it. So something that already precedes you, for you to go and move in that same direction behind where they are and where they're going. That is what it means to follow. So, to believe is a mindset backed up by a confession, but to follow is a movement on what was confessed. So, there's a lot of people who confess and don't move. And a lot of us are offering God lip service, but haven't dared to move. All right? And here in James 2:26, and I'm reading from the Amplified, it says, "For just as the human body without the spirit is dead," because that's what death is. It's just a shell without the spirit. That's death. "So faith without works of obedience is also dead." So faith is the belief and works is the movement. Belief, to have the mindset of belief but do not have any movement, is death. Y'all got me? Y'all follow? You know what I mean? Don't leave. Told you this ain't what you thought it was. But don't go nowhere. Alright? Don't leave. Don't do that. Don't hop off. Don't do me like that. Satan is there's still more. And so he had me look more into it, and he brought up to me the book of Exodus and Moses, and how he was leading the slaves from the Israelites out of bondage, out of slavery, and was leading them throughout the wilderness to the promised land. And so he was telling me that slavery existed long before the Africans came across the transatlantic. Y'all extra woke people ain't gonna like to hear that. Y'all ain't gonna want to hear that. Y'all super woke ones ain't gonna want that. Y'all ain't trying to hear that smoke. But it's facts though. It's way before that, and if we want to be real about it, it still exists more now. It's just that the physical chains don't exist. It's the ones in your mind. I know. I said that y'all ain't going. This ain't what you thought, but just stay with me. Just more. So he was showing me that in Exodus, Moses led the Israelites out of physical slavery, and even though they were being delivered, they complained the whole way. They never honored Moses. They questioned until they saw the move of God. They just questioned him all the time. They followed the man that followed God, but never embraced the God that he followed. we have two conditions of following him, right? To believe, which is a mindset; to confess, which makes it a declaration into the atmosphere to say it out of your mouth. And then we gotta put our feet in the motion. We gotta move toward that thing, right? So they followed him, the person who was the leader, right? Moses. They followed Moses. Moses followed God. They seen him follow God. They seen him, um, you know, spend time with God, pray to God, all these things. They watched him live in holiness, but never embrace the holiness that he embraced. And when Moses dipped out to go spend time alone with God, because he had to refresh his mind, he had to go hear a word from the Lord. He had to, in order to lead, he had to be led. So he had to go dip off so he can be led and refreshed, and get and connect with God. The people that he was leading was out there building golden calves because not a one of them embraced the principles and the God that Moses served. So I wonder how many of us in the church, and we go to church and sit in the pews and listen to the leader talk, but talk about the leader, don't trust the leader. You see the move of God happening within the church and even outside the church, but you question everything that comes out the mouth of the leader or leaders, not just the leader in the church, but leaders, period. Talk behind the leader's back and claim to know God, don't follow him, and have the nerve to complain about the world and worldly things. That's quite hypocritical, isn't it? Because people in the world love to say that the people in the church are hypocritical. They're hypocrites. But they're not talking about everybody. But they talking about a certain few. Told y'all to say, oh Lord. Lord, help. Help us, God, for real. For real. And I'm not even going to act like I want one of them. I was one of the people in the world looking at the church like, dog, I don't want to follow them. Do you see some of them? But, however, that's not everybody. To judge a whole by the few rotten, for one, that ain't right, because to be quite honest, that's the same thing that a lot of that's rejection, first of all, and a lot of us that have operated in the spirit of rejection, and even those that are currently operating in the spirit of rejection have been rejected. So you can it's easy for somebody who has been rejected to reject. I'll put it like that. I'll just drop that there, okay? Because that's what that for real is, and I can say that because I can attest to that. I really can. And so I can't blame a church for I just can't blame a church for something that I was rejecting anyway. I was just looking for something for validation to put out there to say, see here, there it is. I was already like cursing it anyway. I was just looking for something to say I have evidence. And if you look long enough for something, you'll find it. You know what I mean? Like, for real. So, but it is with these types that confess belief in Jesus, yet are critical of those in movement in their faith. That's real. Because there's so many people who confess to love Jesus, confess to be spiritual, but are critical, or the main one's critical of people moving in their faith. How many of us confess to love Jesus or confess to be spiritual? We'll get to the spiritual part in a second. That's why I'm hitting that with the air quotes. Or confess to be spiritual, but criticize those that move in faith. How many of us are like that? I can confess I was. So I know people don't like to be talked about, and they're like, you talking about me, so I'll go ahead and raise my hand and say that was me. I can raise my hand and say that was me. I can say that without any type of hesitation. Okay? So maybe if nobody's watching you, so I know people don't like to be watching and do all that type of stuff. But if you sitting there by yourself, or you watching this by replay, and you sitting there by yourself, you can raise your hand. God already knows it's you too. That's a fact, though. He knows it's you too. So, it ain't, you're not by yourself. There's plenty of us have done that. Plenty that are still doing that. But we're going to address that today. So hopefully, even if it's by the end of it or in the days to come in this minister and this may help you even in days to come to recognize, to bring those thoughts under subjection to obedience of Christ, and to expel and expel those things, to get rid of those things. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. There are those that have no faith yet move in the realm of the spirit. And here's why I was hitting the air quotes for spiritual, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I don't go to church, I'm spiritual. You know that I follow spirits. Okay, for you spiritual ones, I got you. So, all that lighting candles and burning incense and building altars or statues and worshiping them, posing in their images, speaking affirmation spells, etc. These are all spiritual acts. Now here come the Christians. They're like, girl, what you talking about? Girl, what you talking about? Yeah, they're spiritual. Demons are spiritual. Oh yeah, I know that. I know some people don't really want to recognize that. They like demons are spiritual. Yeah. Word. Demons are spiritual. James 2:19, and I'm reading that in NIV, says, you believe that there's one God? Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. You ain't got to believe me? Please go read your word. I'm going to leave all this at the bottom, so if you think I'm just sitting here talking because I'm just talking, no, I got you, boo. I'll put it right here in the comments. You can go look at it for yourself. Leviticus 10:1 says, now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer, put it in the fire, and laid incense on it, and offered unholy fire before the Lord, such as he had not commanded them. Not. All that burning of sages, talking about you getting rid of demons. No, baby, you're inviting them home. They know where to go to. You have marked territory, just like a dog pees on grass and knows how to mark territory. That is all you're doing. You're inviting a fragrance, and it's a smell. You're offering up strange fire to God, and you're offering a fragrance to the demons. You're not shooing nothing away. You're bringing them in. An altar in Latin is altus, which means high. To have an altar is to place something or someone high above you. It's a form of worship. Whatever you position highly is what you worship. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in high places. Ephesians 6:12. Exodus 30:9. Do not offer on this altar any forbidden incense, any animal offering, or any grain offering, and do not pour out any wine offering on it. That is all strange fire. That is all witchcraft. That is all demonic. But it's spiritual. Spiritual wickedness placed high. That's your altar. Just saying. Leviticus 19:31 says, do not turn to mediums who pretend to consult the dead, or spiritists, who have spirits of divination. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Do not seek them to be defiled by them, corrupted by them, polluted by them, corrupted by them. Because that's all that leads to. Deuteronomy 18:9-12, and I'm reading from the Amplified. When you enter the land which the Lord your God is giving to you, shall not learn to imitate the detestable, repulsive practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, a sacrifice, one who uses divination and fortune telling, one who practices witchcraft, or one who interprets omens, a sorcerer, or one who casts a charm or spell, or a medium or spiritist, or a oh God help me, necromancer, who seeks the dead. So for those of like, I'm a ancestral, who practices ancestral worship. You think you talk to someone that's passed on. You summoning those that are dead. Okay? Necromancer. God says don't do that. For everyone who does these things is utterly repulsive to the Lord. Utterly repulsive to the Lord. That's not godly. It's not following God. It is not going to lead you to heaven. It ain't going to get you to where you think you're trying to go. You're consulting dead things. Why would you want to consider something that's not living? Hello? Why would you want to consult something that's already past tense? You are here in the land of living, but you're craving something that has already decayed. He said that for everyone who does these things is utterly repulsive to the Lord, and because these detestable practices, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. Ancestral worship is not godly and does not follow after God. Burning incense such as sage and candles is not godly and does not follow God. All these things are spiritual, and you are following spirits, none of which are godly. None of which leads you to heaven. Period. Period. You want some more? I got the last few for you. These last two for you, okay? Joshua 24:15 from the Message Bible says, if you decide that it is a bad thing to worship God, because there's some of you that don't want to do that. So I got you with that. The word is here for that too. The word is here for that too. So if you decide that it's a bad thing to worship God, then choose a God you rather serve. Mom. Sorry, y'all. This is what happens when you got little phone calls. But if you decide it's a bad thing to worship God, then choose a God you rather serve. And do it today. In other words, do it quickly. Choose one of the gods of your ancestors' worship from the country beyond the river, or one of the gods of the Amorites, on whose land you're now living. But as for me and my family, we'll worship God. We hear that part at the end so much. As for me and my family, we'll worship God. But before that, it says, if you decided it's a bad thing to worship God, then choose a lowercase g God that you would rather serve, and do it today. He's not twisting your hand to serve him. He's not twisting your hand to serve. If you don't want to, he said, go ahead and make a choice. Go ahead and make a choice. The choice is yours to do. You can choose not to serve him and go with the consequences that come from that. You can choose to serve him and go with what goes from after that too. The choice is yours to follow him or not to follow him. So it's not just enough to believe. You have to follow too. Because who you follow is who you truly serve. And who you truly serve is who you truly worship. You did? I hope that y'all following me. I hope y'all following it. Okay, and the last one is from John 14:6, the New International Version. And it reads, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So while you're making your choice, go ahead and put that caveat in just to let you know that the only way to God and the only way to heaven is through him, though. So while you're making your choice, make an informed decision. Because I'm all about that informed decision life. I'm all about that intentionality life. If you're going to make a decision, make it clear. Make it plain. So that you know that when you deny him, you know fully that you have denied who sent him. Mom, I'll call you back. Okay? Because he gave us free will. That's one thing that God gave us is free will of choice. He didn't make it He loves us unconditionally. But he told us that we have the right to choose whether we'll be obedient to him or not, whether we'll serve him or not, whether we'll truly love him or not. That's amazing. Imagine if your parents did that. The parent that when your parents said birth to you and was like, okay, I love you unconditionally. I'll do anything for you. But I give you the choice to love me or not. Whether you're going to come home or not. You're going to follow my rules or not. Whether you're going to obey me or not. Imagine that. But I'm going to still love you anyway. And when you decide that you are going to love me, you will follow me. And you will, I'll be right here for you. Like nothing never happened. I'll forgive you. Imagine that. But don't frustrate that grace, though. Because that grace, frustrated grace ain't nothing nice. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't nothing nice. But ain't it great to know that we do have that, we have grace? Like, and when I see people who deny Jesus, it's like, you're denying the grace. You're denying grace. You want the grace, but you deny the grace. That's so confusing. And it really is. It's the spirit of confusion. That's so confusing. You want grace, but you deny the grace. You want the option to choose, but then you want to get, what is it? Right here. It says, if you think it's a bad thing to serve him, make your choice. And so, I'll leave you with these two questions for you. Who do you follow? And who do you choose to follow? I'll leave you with that. But as for me, he got my heart. He got my heart. Does he have your heart? So, this is Flavor Friday. I'm glad that y'all came through and kicked it with me. You know what I mean? I hope y'all come back next week. Y'all coming back? I want y'all to come back. Come back next week. Fridays, 6 p.m. I'm here. You're going to be here. You're going to tell a friend, and y'all coming through. Alright? That's what's going to go down. And if y'all want encouragement and prayer, hit me up on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. I got you for Tempo Tuesdays, alright? I'm so glad that y'all came on. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I am Coach Aisha of ConsecrateCoaching.com. Hit me up for life coaching. Hit me up for merchandising, pillows, cups, mugs, all that good stuff. I got so much coming through, coming up in the next couple of weeks and months and stuff. So be sure to follow your girl. Get your homies to follow your girl. And while I follow Christ, I'm going to sit here and give y'all what he give me. Alright? That's what's up. I'll see y'all next time, alright? Until next time, be blessed. Bye.